Hey, Six Pack Shortcuts family, it's your boy Jonny Catanzano.
Your boy Tran.
We're here today and we want to introduce you to the last and final video of this week remembering our brother Clark Shao. We miss you, man. Not a day goes by that we don't think about all the time we spent together.
Whether it was in the gym, just going around the office, or just anywhere, Clark was the guy who had a personality that could just light up the room.
Yeah, I mean, you remember when we filmed SPS 2.0?
Yeah, that weekend, man. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, from morning to dusk till dawn.
These were, 12-hour film days?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's just joking and clowning. He actually brought his dogs and his girl up that weekend, and we all hung out.
That was awesome.
That's right. We went and grabbed some food and stuff, and man, I don't know about you, but we're never gonna forget
those times, man. Those will be with us till we die.
Yeah, for sure. And to give back to Clark's hometown and community to promote healthier living and lifestyles for families and young people, just like Clark would have wanted. Just click the link below to donate on Clark's behalf. We set up a donation page with the YMCA of Greater Houston, that's Clark's hometown, and just click on the link below and give. I mean, anything helps, guys.
We really appreciate you guys taking some time to watch and enjoy Clark's memories here at Six Pack Shortcuts. It means a lot to us. We miss you, man. I miss you, man. But I know you're up there watching over us, and we will always remember you, brother.
The legacy's always going to live on, man. We'll never. This will always be Six Pack Shortcuts. This will also always be Clark Shao's Six Pack Shortcuts.
Yeah.
Did you know a six-pack can literally ruin your life? Let's talk about that for a minute. Hey, I'm Clark Shao here with Six Pack Shortcuts, and here's how a six-pack can literally ruin your life. Now, you might be thinking I'm crazy for saying this because we are Six Pack Shortcuts, but if the road to getting a six-pack is the unhealthy road to take, then it can literally ruin your life. And what I mean by this is guys who are solely stuck on the fact of getting a six-pack aesthetically and no longer concerned with their health or well-being. So I have a lot of clients that come up to me and they say, hey, I want a six-pack as soon as possible. How can I do it? And then I start by asking, okay, well, do you have any prior experience with exercise? Do you have any injuries or limitations when it comes to exercise? Are you allergic to any type of foods? I need to gather all this information, that way I can come up with a plan that they can follow and not injure themselves or not get hurt. And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, I've hurt my back before, but that's probably because I'm overweight and I just want to get a six-pack. And I'm like, and they're like, what are the best ab exercises I can do? And I tell them, don't do any ab exercises because you're gonna make your back worse. Because a lot of ab exercises puts a lot of strain on your lumbar and your spine, and that can actually cause more injury. And what's the point of being injured with a six-pack if you're not functional? You have no quality of life anymore, right? So getting a six-pack is great and all, but not if it means starving yourself and getting a six-pack and just being skin and bones with a six-pack. No, you want to be lean and muscular, so you don't want to just lose all your muscle and starve yourself and finally have a six-pack. That's not healthy either. And then doing a million ab exercises, like I mentioned earlier, that's just going to, cause injury to your spine, and you're gonna be hurting all day whenever you try to walk, and herniated disc or something like that. That's not something that you want either. So just being completely obsessed with the goal of having a six-pack is not very healthy unless you choose to take that road the healthy way, meaning start by a correct diet, start with the compound lifts that you're capable of doing correctly without sustaining any injuries. And then once you start to kind of lean out and lose a little bit of weight, then at that point you can start to focus on doing more ab exercises to kind of really define that midsection. And that goes back to what we've mentioned a million times. Doing ab exercises only hits and targets the muscle that's underneath the fat. You're never gonna see a six-pack as long as you have that little layer of fat on top of your stomach. So all the ab exercises in the world is not going to give you a six-pack if you have a little layer of fat on top of that. So all you're doing is simply working the muscle underneath the fat. You'll never see a six-pack unless you get rid of all that fat. But once you start to lean out and you start to kind of see the outline of your abs, then you can start incorporating more ab exercises to get a more defined and impressive looking midsection. So back to the original goal of getting a six-pack. You might want to set, you know, different milestones before just the goal of getting a six-pack. And the milestone might be, you know, lose 5 pounds first, or you know, reduce your body fat percentage a little bit, you know, by 1%, 2%. And that's actually more important than just losing weight, because if you gain a couple pounds of muscle and lose a couple pounds of fat, you still weigh the same, but you're causing positive change in your body. Now let's talk about once you achieve a six-pack. A lot of people that have a six-pack already feel like they have reached the ultimate pinnacle of fitness. Well, just having a six-pack does not necessarily mean that you're fit or you're healthy. You can have a six-pack and be totally unhealthy. Health is about your inside. You know, it's about how you feel. It's about being functional. So just merely having a six-pack doesn't mean you're healthy if you can't even lift your body weight, or let's say you can't jog for 10 minutes without being completely winded. That doesn't mean you're healthy just because you look good and you have a six-pack. You want to be fit, functional, and aesthetic, right? So a lot of people lose track of the goal in fitness, which is fitness, and that's your health and well-being. And having a six-pack is like a bonus, okay? But of course, if your goal is to get a six-pack and it's making you healthy along the way, healthier along the way, then that's awesome. Kind of how I got into the fitness industry was back when I was in middle school. Myself, Mike Chang, my buddy Johnson, and a couple other guys from middle school, we were always very competitive. You know, when it came to you know, PE and stuff, we would race, we would run, we would do push-up contests, monkey bars, and I was killing them. But I was very thin, and I was very thin and lean. I wasn't very muscular. And the first time that we ever picked up a weight, somebody had those old school benches at the house with those sand-filled weights on the side, and we all decided to see who could lift more weights. So the first guy goes, Mike Chang goes, Johnson goes, then I get up there all confident, and boom, I couldn't lift the weights that they were lifting, and it was to my shocking surprise, I was like, dang, I can't believe how weak I was. That was like an eye-opener. Like, man, I've always been like better than them at everything else, faster, jump higher, run faster, but I was weaker. I was like, this is crazy. So I told my dad I wanted a bench for my birthday. So I think I was like 13 or 14 years old. He found one, an old one from a garage sale for like 40 bucks. And that's when I started hitting the weights. Not with the goal of having a six-pack. Not with the goal of getting big shoulders or a big chest or biceps or anything else. My only goal when I started lifting weights was just to be stronger than them. That was it. That's all I wanted. But along with that, with the weight training daily, man, I started seeing my body changing, and I was like, man, I kind of like this. And here we are, about 15 years later, still lifting. And that's kind of what got me on this path to fitness. So it wasn't with the goal of having a six-pack in mind. It was the goal of being stronger, being more fit, being more functional. So don't forget about your health, guys. That's the most important. So in conclusion to everything that I was mentioning here is basically don't hurt yourself trying to get a six-pack, okay? And if that is your ultimate goal, make sure that you're taking the right steps in the right order to get the six-pack. Don't try to do a bunch of ab exercises that's going to end up injuring your body, and don't try starving yourself to get a six-pack because you're gonna lose all your muscle. So make sure you're doing it the correct way. And then also, once you have a six-pack, that doesn't mean you're the healthiest you could ever be, okay? It just means you look great, but you still want to be fit and you still want to be functional. You want to be able to run. You want to be able to be strong, lift your body weight. You want to have balance. You want to have stability, all that good stuff. So if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And until next time, I'm Clark Shao with Six Pack Shortcuts. We'll see you later.